Hi dear students, welcome to Vidyanagar online classes. It's me Anand Kumar, your social science teacher. Today we can discuss the remaining portions of the your chapter 8, Indian Constitution. Okay, the Indian Constitution. In this chapter, one of the most important area that is called fundamental rights. Fundamental rights, you know that this most important part of our Indian Constitution. It is one of the consciousness of the what? Our Indian Constitution. Consciousness mean by maybe the what? The power of the Indian Constitution. The most important and most source of the Indian Constitution. That is commonly called consciousness. ഉൾക്കരുത്ത് എന്ന് നമ്മൾ പറയും. And in this constitution, why we added or the drafters added the fundamental rights? Because at the time of the British rule over India, almost 200 years they ruled India. Indians well known about the importance of the what? Rights. So to protecting the rights of the Indians and to establishing the rights in our Indian constitution, our drafters are adding the what? Fundamental rights. And it was mainly for protecting the arbitrary exercise of the power by the state in our India. It was mainly to protect the what? Protect the individual or the persons from the arbitrary exercise of the power by the what? State. You know, India, even the state government or central government, if they got enormous power, if there is no constitution, if there is no fundamental rights, they're exercising, they're imposing their wishes to the people. People have no what? Basic rights. So, you know, India clearly mentioning the fundamental rights in our Indian constitution. No, any government, if it is central government or state government, can curtail and mainly violate the what? The provisions of the fundamental rights. So, it is protecting the what? Our people from the arbitrary exercise of the what? Power by the state. So, mainly if there is anyone if anyone are not getting the fundamental rights, if anyone feel that or any persons are feel that their fundamental rights are violating at any circumstances, they can directly approaching the what? Indian constitution. That is why it is called most important part of the consciousness of the what? Or Indian constitution. And our Indian constitution, the draft, mainly the drafting chairman is called B.R. Ambedkar. He well known about the interest of the minority including the linguistic and religious minority. So to protecting their right, you know, India, our Ambedkar adding many provisions to what? Our Indian constitution. Linguistic minority, why? Because now India we have almost 400 languages, 22 scheduled languages is there. So a lot of the regional colloquial languages is there. So every people have a right to protect their culture and language, minority especially. And minority especially including the religious and the what? Our linguistic one. Religious mean that in India, Hindus are majority, remaining religions are the minority. If the Hindu people or the administrative authority got power in our India, there's a chance to overcome and to imposing their rule in our India. So to protecting the Indian constitution, the religious minorities and linguistic minorities, the right, our fundamental rights are added. So protecting the what? Or minorities in our India. So every context we can see that our fundamental right is the most important essence of the what? Our Indian constitution. So we can discussing the what? This fundamental right. And apart from this one, our Indian constitution, our Indian drafters are adding one more point. That is called the directive principles of the what? State policy. Directive principles of the state policy is another part of the what? Our Indian constitution. And it is not a mandatory, it is not a compulsory. It said that it gave the government and it tell that how to create or how to make a welfare state in our India. How to create or how to make a welfare state in our India. And it including the lot of the principles and philosophies of the what? Our great person Mahatma Gandhi. There is adding the what? Our directive principles of the what? State policy. It gave the what? Government. And it gives some guidelines how to create a welfare state in our India. And which are the policies we need to implement to making or creating a welfare state in our India. So that provision, it gives the guidelines only. It is only the what? Written. It is not a mandatory, not a compulsory for practicing. If any persons are feel that our directive principles are not practiced in our India, he have no power to approaching the court for what implementing directing principles. Why? Because it is a mandatory, not a compulsory one to implement. Okay, that also adding the what or in the constitution. So that's what the definition and the need and importance of the what fundamental rights in India. Then we can discuss next one, the fundamental rights. So Indian constitution guaranteed every citizens mainly 6 fundamental rights. The first fundamental rights, that is right to equality. Second one, right to freedom. Third one, right against exploitation. And fourth one, right to freedom of religion. And fifth one, cultural and educational right. And sixth one, right to constitutional remedies. These are the very famous 6 fundamental rights that's guaranteed about Indian constitution. So once again I explain here the most important fundamental rights that guaranteed the Indian constitution to every person. First one is called right to equality. Second one, right to freedom. Third one, right against exploitation. And fourth one, right to freedom of religion. And fifth one, cultural and educational right. And last one, right to constitutional remedies. These are the very famous 6 fundamental rights that guaranteed by the Indian constitution for our Indians or the people of the world, our India. So we can discuss one by one in this module. Then first one we can discuss, first fundamental rights, right to equality. Right to equality, that mean by every people from our India, they were equal before the law. They were equal before the law. At present India we have 132 crore people is there almost. And every people are equal before the law. There is no discrimination in the eyes of law. On the ground of the religion, then caste, creed, then place of birth, and mainly the sex, gender also. There is no discrimination. So every persons have an equal right to our India. Thus mean by the equal before the law, and there is no discrimination also. And now India, with the law or the right to equality under this provision, every persons have a free access to the public places. They can use the public well, they can use the public path, they can use the public vehicles, and everyone have the power. And mainly now India, every persons have a right to getting the employment. On the ground of the religion, on the ground of the gender, on the ground of the caste, there is no discrimination. Every type of the people have a right to getting the employment in our India. That's also including the right to equality. Once again, under right to equality, it mean by the equal before the law. Everyone are equal, and everyone are equal in our India with the law. There is no discrimination on the basis of the religion, caste, sex, creed, and moreover the our place of birth. So that's about the first one. And everyone have a right to free access to the public places. They can use public well. They can use the public park. They can use the public burial places. So that's about the this one. And last one, everyone have the power to or the right to getting the employment in our India. There is no discrimination on the basis of the upper caste and lower caste, wealthiest people and poor people, and men or the woman. Everyone have the right to getting the employment also. So I think that it is very clear, right to equality. And the next one, right to freedom. That's also a simple one. Second most important fundamental rights in our India. Right to freedom, it including the everyone have a right, mainly the have a right to speech and expression, his views, his ideas. There is no discrimination. Everyone have a right to mainly the speech and expression. He can express his view. He can express his philosophy. He can speech. No one to afraid about this right. And every Indians have a right to form association, trade union, political parties, and everyone have a right to move any places and reside any places without any discrimination. And he can practice his profession, and he can practice his mainly business and other thing. That's including the right to freedom. So once again, right to freedom, it including the right to speech and expression. Okay, the next fundamental rights in the constitution, there is right to freedom of religion. Right to freedom of religion. It's one of the familiar one. And India is one of the largest secular country in the world. Every Indian have a right to practice his own profession, and he can believe the what any religion, and he can running the what any religion institution, and without any discrimination. So every Indians have a right to freedom of the what religion that is guaranteed by the what Indian Constitution. And in our India, every people can practice his own religion. He can profess his own religion. He can believe his own religion, any religion. He can convert to any other religion. And otherwise, we can say that now India, if any people are not believing in a particular religion, he can also practice his what? His own belief. That's including the what? Right to freedom of the what? Religion. That's about the what? Right to freedom of religion. Every people now India have a right to practice, profess and believe the what his own religion. India is one of the largest secular country in the world itself. That's about the right to freedom of the what religion. And fifth one, cultural and educational right. Now in India, according to our Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, cultural and educational right is one of the most important part of the Indian Constitution. In India, it mainly protecting the interest of the what? Minorities. Minorities including the what? Linguistic and religious minority. And in India, mainly religious and linguistic minority can profess, practice his own ideas. They can run their own educational institution, mainly for protecting their language, mainly to protecting their what? Culture. So in India, they have a chance to what? Dominations of the majority over the minority, mainly against their culture, mainly against their what? Religion and their language itself. That is why this cultural and educational right is one of the most important part of the what? Or Indian Constitution. It also guaranteed the what? Right of the minority. And any minority people, they can practice his own and running his own what? Educational institution. There is no limitations and discrimination. But it was mainly for protecting their language and their culture. That's about the what? Cultural and educational right. There is a fifth fundamental rights in our Indian Constitution. So the last one, sixth fundamental rights. That is right to constitutional remedies. Right to constitutional remedies mean by, in our India, if any persons are feel that his fundamental rights are violating by the state authority or central authority, if any other person. So we already discussed that fundamental rights are rights of the people against the domination of a state government or central government or the other individual. That is called what? Fundamental right. So fundamental right protecting the interest of the what? Any person and any person's right against the dominations of the what? State government, central government or the what? Other citizens or government authority itself. So here we can see that in India, if any persons are feel that his fundamental rights are violating at particular circumstances or condition, he can directly approaching the what? Court. That special right is commonly called right to constitutional remedies. Right to constitutional remedies. And this right have only the what? A special category, because he can directly approach the Supreme Court or the High Court itself. There is no what formalities itself. So that much powerful right is called what? Fundamental rights. So that's about the what? 6 fundamental rights. That's about the what? 6 fundamental rights in our what? In the Constitution. Okay. So if any persons are approaching the Supreme Court in the case of the what? Violation of the fundamental rights, Supreme Court is study about that issue and mainly for what? Mainly declaring and issuing the what? Writ. Writ are mainly famous for writ is it? 5 writ is it? Certiorari, mandamus, then quo warranto, habeas corpus and prohibition. Okay, 5 writ is it. There is no need to study, but you just understood that sir, part of this one, the right to constitutional remedies. Okay, I explain once again this part, right to freedom of religion. That I mean by every person have a right to what? Practicing his own religion, profess his own religion, believe his own religion. And fifth one, cultural and educational right. It was connecting with the minority. Minority including the what? Linguistic and religious minority. In India, Hindus are the majority and others are the what? Minority. Linguistic mean by majority of the Indians are speaking the what? Hindi language or that language. So remaining South Indian languages are the what? Minority. And some colloquial language, especially Adivasis tribals have their own languages. So every this religious minority have a particular right to protecting their what? Language and religion. And they can run the what? Their education institution. It was mainly for protecting the what? Their culture and their what? Language. Okay, then next one, constitutional remedies. So I just explain this part in the what? Malayalam. There is sixth fundamental rights, constitutional remedies. And Malayalam ഭരണഘടനാപരമായ പരിഹാര മാർഗത്തിനുള്ള എന്താണ് അവകാശം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മുടെ ഇന്ത്യയിലെ ഏതെങ്കിലും വ്യക്തികൾക്ക് അവരുടെ ഫണ്ടമെന്റൽ റൈറ്റ്സ് മൗലിക അവകാശങ്ങൾ അവർക്ക് ലഭിക്കുന്നില്ല, അത് വയലേറ്റ് ചെയ്യപ്പെടാൻ തോന്നിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ആൾക്ക് നേരിട്ട് എന്ത് ചെയ്യാം? സുപ്രീം കോടതിയെ ഹൈക്കോടതിയെ അപ്രോച്ച് ചെയ്യാം. അവരുടെ ഫണ്ടമെന്റൽ റൈറ്റ്സ് ഫുൾഫിൽ ചെയ്യാൻ. അത് ഈ റൈറ്റ്സിന് മാത്രമേ ഉള്ളൂ. ആ സ്പെഷ്യൽ റൈറ്റ് ആണ് എന്ത്? കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷണൽ റെമഡീസ്. ഭരണഘടനാ ഭേദഗതിക്കുള്ള പരിഹാര മാർഗത്തിനുള്ള എന്താണ് റൈറ്റ്സ്. പിന്നെ പഠിച്ചു എന്ത്? കൾച്ചറൽ ആൻഡ് എഡ്യൂക്കേഷണൽ റൈറ്റ്. സാംസ്കാരികവും വിദ്യാഭ്യാസപരമായ എന്താണ് അവകാശം. അത് മൈനോറിറ്റിക്ക് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ്. ഇന്ത്യയിൽ മതപരമായിട്ടുള്ള ഭാഷാപരമായിട്ടുള്ള മൈനോറിറ്റികളുണ്ട്. ഏറ്റവും മുന്നിലുള്ള എണ്ണം കൊണ്ട് സംസാരം കൊണ്ട് കൂടുതലുള്ള ആൾക്കാരാണ് മെജോറിറ്റി. അവിടെ എപ്പോഴും ഡോമിനേഷൻ ഓഫ് ദി മെജോറിറ്റി ഓർ ദി മൈനോറിറ്റി, നമ്മുടെ മെജോറിറ്റിയുടെ ഡോമിനേഷൻ ഉണ്ടാകാനുള്ള സാധ്യതയുണ്ട്. അത്തരം സാഹചര്യങ്ങളിൽ മൈനോറിറ്റികളുടെ അവകാശം പ്രൊട്ടക്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് ഈ ഒരു റൈറ്റ്സ് ആഡ് ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നത്. മൈനോറിറ്റി സെക്ഷൻസിൽ അത് ഭാഷാപരമായിട്ടാവാം മതപരമായിട്ടാവാം അവർക്ക് അവരുടെ സ്ഥാപനങ്ങൾ സ്ഥാപിക്കാനും ഭാഷയും സംസ്കാരവും പ്രൊപ്പഗേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാനും പ്രൊട്ടക്ട് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള എന്താണ് സ്ഥാപനങ്ങൾ സ്ഥാപിക്കാം. ഓക്കെ, ദ നെക്സ്റ്റ് റൈറ്റ് ടു വാട്ട്? ഫ്രീഡം ഓഫ് റിലീജിയൻ. നമുക്കറിയാം. ദ റൈറ്റ് അഗൈൻസ്റ്റ് എക്സ്പ്ലോയിറ്റേഷൻ, ചൂഷണത്തിനെതിരെയുള്ള അവകാശമാണ്. അതിൽ ഉൾപ്പെടുന്നതാണ് പ്രൊഹിബിറ്റിംഗ് ഹ്യൂമൻ ട്രാഫിക്കിംഗ്. ഹ്യൂമൻ ട്രാഫിക്കിംഗ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ മനുഷ്യക്കടത്താണ്. മനുഷ്യക്കടത്ത് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ അന്യായമായിട്ട് നിയമങ്ങളും രേഖകളും ഒന്നുമില്ലാതെ കുട്ടികളെയും ആൾക്കാരെയും എന്ത് ചെയ്യുക? സംസ്ഥാനങ്ങളിലേക്ക് മറ്റു പ്രദേശങ്ങളിലേക്ക് എന്ത് ചെയ്യുക? കടത്ത രാഷ്ട്രങ്ങളിലേക്ക് ഒരുപാട് കാര്യങ്ങൾ കൊണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. അതിനെ പറഞ്ഞ പേരാണ് എന്ത്? റൈറ്റ് അഗൈൻസ്റ്റ് എക്സ്പ്ലോയിറ്റേഷൻ. ദെൻ ഫോഴ്സ്ഡ് ലേബർ ആൾസോ വാട്ട്? പ്രൊഹിബിറ്റഡ് ബൈ ഇന്ത്യൻ കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ. ഫോഴ്സ്ഡ് ലേബർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നിർബന്ധിത വേല. തൊഴിൽ കാശ് കൊടുക്കാതെ എന്ത് ചെയ്യുക? കുട്ടികളെ കൊണ്ടും ആൾക്കാരെ കൊണ്ടും ജോലി ചെയ്യിപ്പിക്കും. ജാതിയുടെ മതത്തിലേക്ക് പേര് പറഞ്ഞുകൊണ്ട്. പിന്നെ ലാസ്റ്റ് പറഞ്ഞത് ചൈൽഡ് ലേബർ. Child labor mean by below 14 age. If any citizens is, if not citizens, any child is, they can take into their home and to what? Appointing any restaurant and other match factories and other small industries, and to what? Mainly to compel to them to what? Work. So here the children's right to educational right is what? Denied. And children have many rights. ഇവിടെ ഈ ഒരു ചൈൽഡ് ലേബർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്കറിയാം പിന്നെ ശിശുവേല അല്ലെങ്കിൽ എന്ത് പറയും, ചെറിയ കുട്ടികൾ 14 വയസ്സിന് താഴെയുള്ള കുട്ടികൾ ജോലി ചെയ്യാണ്. അപ്പൊ അവരുടെ അവകാശങ്ങൾ എന്താണ് പലപ്പോഴും ഇവിടെ ഹനിക്കപ്പെടുകയും ചെയ്യുന്നു. അപ്പൊ അതിനെതിരെയുള്ള എന്താണ് ഒരു റൈറ്റ് ആണ് ഇത്. പിന്നെ റൈറ്റ് ടു ഫ്രീഡം. എല്ലാ വ്യക്തികൾക്കും എന്താണ് ഇന്ത്യയിൽ അവരുടെ ആശയങ്ങളും അവരുടെ എന്താണ് ചിന്തകളും സംസാരിക്കാനും അത് എക്സ്പ്രസ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള റൈറ്റ്സ് ഉണ്ട്. പിന്നെ അസോസിയേഷൻ ഫോം ചെയ്യാം, എവിടെയാണ് താമസിക്കാം, മൂവ് ചെയ്യാം, പ്രൊഫഷൻ. Then right to what? Equality itself. That's about the what? Very famous fundamental rights that guaranteed by the what? Indian Constitution. Fundamental rights are the right are guaranteed by the what? Indian Constitution. Okay, thank you. Okay, the next fundamental rights now in the Constitution, there is right to freedom of religion. Right to freedom of religion is one of the familiar one, and India is one of the largest secular country in the world. Every Indian have a right to practice his own profession, and he can believe the what? Any religion, and he can running the what? Any religion institution, and that without any discrimination. So every Indians have a right to freedom of the what? Religion that is guaranteed by the what? Indian Constitution. And now India, every people can practice his own religion. He can profess his own religion. He can believe his own religion, any religion. He can convert to any other religion. And otherwise, we can say that now India, if any people are not believing in a particular religion, he can also practice his what? His own belief. That's including the what? Right to freedom of the what? Religion. That's about the what? Right to freedom of religion. Every people now India have a right to practice, profess and believe the what? His own religion. India is one of the largest secular country in the what? World itself. That's about the right to freedom of the what? Religion. And fifth one, cultural and educational right. Now in India, according to our Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, cultural and educational right is one of the most important part of the Indian Constitution. In India, it mainly protecting the interest of the what? Minorities. Minorities including the what? Linguistic and religious minority. And in India, mainly religious and linguistic minority can profess, practice his own ideas. They can run their own educational institution, mainly for protecting their language, mainly to protecting their what? Culture. So in India, they have a chance to what? Dominations of the majority over the minority, mainly against their culture, mainly against their what? Religion and their language itself. That is why this cultural and educational right is one of the most important part of the what? Our Indian Constitution. It also guaranteed the what? Right of the minority. And any minority people, they can practice his own and running his own what? Educational institution. There is no limitations and discrimination. But it was mainly for protecting their language and their culture. That's about the what? Cultural and educational right. There is a fifth fundamental rights in our Indian Constitution. So the last one, sixth fundamental rights. That is right to constitutional remedies. Right to constitutional remedies mean by, in our India, if any persons are feel that his fundamental rights are violating by the state authority or central authority, if any other person. So we already discussed that fundamental rights are rights of the people against the domination of a state government or central government or the other individual. That is called what? Fundamental right. So fundamental right protecting the interest of the what? Any person and any person's right against the dominations of the what? State government, central government or the what? Other citizens or government authority itself. So here we can see that in India, if any persons are feel that his fundamental rights are violating at particular circumstances or condition, he can directly approaching the what? Court. That special right is commonly called right to constitutional remedies. Right to constitutional remedies. And this right have only the what? A special category, because he can directly approach the Supreme Court or the High Court itself. There is no what formalities itself. So that much powerful right is called what? Fundamental rights. So that's about the what? 6 fundamental rights. That's about the what? 6 fundamental rights in our what? In the Constitution. Okay. So if any persons are approaching the Supreme Court in the case of the what? Violation of the fundamental rights, Supreme Court is study about that issue and mainly for what? Mainly declaring and issuing the what? Writ. Writ are mainly famous for writ is 5 writ is certiorari, mandamus, then quo warranto, habeas corpus and prohibition. Okay, 5 writ is there is no need to study, but you just understood that part of this what? The right to constitutional remedies. Okay, I explain once again this part. Right to freedom of religion. That I mean by every person have a right to what? Practicing his own religion, profess his own religion, believe his own what? Religion. And fifth one, cultural and educational right. It was connecting with the minority. Minority including the what? Linguistic and religious minority. In India, Hindus are the majority and others are the what? Minority. Linguistic mean by majority of the Indians are speaking the what? Hindi language or that language. So remaining South Indian languages are the what? Minority. And some colloquial language, especially Adivasis tribals have their own languages. So every this religious minority have a particular right to protecting their what? Language and religion. And they can run the what? Their education institution. It was mainly for protecting the what? Their culture and their what? Language. Okay, then next one, constitutional remedies. So I just explain this part in the what? Malayalam. There is 6th fundamental rights, constitutional remedies. And Malayalam ആണ് ഭരണഘടനാപരമായ പരിഹാര മാർഗത്തിനുള്ള എന്താണ്? അവകാശം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മുടെ ഇന്ത്യയിൽ ഏതെങ്കിലും വ്യക്തികൾക്ക് അവരുടെ ഫണ്ടമെന്റൽ റൈറ്റ്സ്, മൗലിക അവകാശങ്ങൾ അവർക്ക് ലഭിക്കുന്നില്ല, അത് വയലേറ്റ് ചെയ്യപ്പെടാൻ തോന്നിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ആൾക്ക് നേരിട്ട് എന്ത് ചെയ്യാം? സുപ്രീം കോടതിയെ ഹൈക്കോടതിയെ അപ്രോച്ച് ചെയ്യാം, അവരുടെ ഫണ്ടമെന്റൽ റൈറ്റ്സ് ഫുൾഫിൽ ചെയ്യാൻ. അത് ഈ റൈറ്റ്സിന് മാത്രമേ ഉള്ളൂ. ആ സ്പെഷ്യൽ റൈറ്റ് ആണ് എന്ത്? കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷണൽ റെമഡീസ്, ഭരണഘടന ഭേദഗതിക്കുള്ള പരിഹാര മാർഗത്തിനുള്ള എന്താണ്? റൈറ്റ്സ്. പിന്നെ പഠിച്ചു എന്ത്? കൾച്ചറൽ ആൻഡ് എഡ്യൂക്കേഷണൽ റൈറ്റ്, സാംസ്കാരികവും വിദ്യാഭ്യാസപരമായ എന്താണ്? അവകാശം. അത് മൈനോറിറ്റിക്ക് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ്. ഇന്ത്യയിൽ മതപരമായിട്ടുള്ള ഭാഷാപരമായിട്ടുള്ള മൈനോറിറ്റികളുണ്ട്. ഏറ്റവും മുന്നിലുള്ള എണ്ണം കൊണ്ട് സംസാരം കൊണ്ട് കൂടുതലുള്ള ആൾക്കാരാണ് മെജോറിറ്റി. അവിടെ എപ്പോഴും ഡോമിനേഷൻ ഓഫ് ദി മെജോറിറ്റി ഓർ ദി മൈനോറിറ്റി, നമ്മുടെ മെജോറിറ്റിയുടെ ഡോമിനേഷൻ ഉണ്ടാകാൻ സാധ്യതയുണ്ട്. അത്തരം സാഹചര്യങ്ങളിൽ മൈനോറിറ്റികളുടെ അവകാശം പ്രൊട്ടക്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് ഈ ഒരു റൈറ്റ്സ് ആഡ് ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നത്. മൈനോറിറ്റി സെക്ഷൻസിൽ അത് ഭാഷാപരമായിട്ടാവാം മതപരമായിട്ടാവാം അവർക്ക് അവരുടെ സ്ഥാപനങ്ങൾ സ്ഥാപിക്കാനും ഭാഷയും സംസ്കാരവും പ്രൊപ്പഗേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാനും പ്രൊട്ടക്ട് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള എന്താണ് സ്ഥാപനങ്ങൾ സ്ഥാപിക്കാം. ഓക്കെ, ദ നെക്സ്റ്റ് റൈറ്റ് ടു വാട്ട് ഫ്രീഡം ഓഫ് റിലീജിയൻ. നമുക്കറിയാം ദ റൈറ്റ് അഗൈൻസ്റ്റ് എക്സ്പ്ലോയിറ്റേഷൻ, ചൂഷണത്തിനെതിരെയുള്ള അവകാശമാണ്. അതിൽ ഉൾപ്പെടുന്നതാണ് പ്രൊഹിബിറ്റിംഗ് ഹ്യൂമൻ ട്രാഫിക്കിംഗ്. ഹ്യൂമൻ ട്രാഫിക്കിംഗ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ മനുഷ്യക്കടത്താണ്. മനുഷ്യക്കടത്ത് എന്നാൽ അന്യായമായിട്ട് നിയമങ്ങളും രേഖകളും ഒന്നുമില്ലാതെ കുട്ടികളെയും ആൾക്കാരെയും എന്ത് ചെയ്യുക, സംസ്ഥാനങ്ങളിലേക്ക് മറ്റു പ്രദേശങ്ങളിലേക്ക് എന്ത് ചെയ്യുക, കടത്ത രാഷ്ട്രങ്ങളിലേക്ക് ഒരുപാട് കാര്യങ്ങൾ കൊണ്ടുവരും. അതിനെ പറഞ്ഞ പേരാണ് റൈറ്റ് അഗൈൻസ്റ്റ് എക്സ്പ്ലോയിറ്റേഷൻ. ദെൻ ഫോഴ്സ്ഡ് ലേബർ ആൾസോ വാട്ട് പ്രൊഹിബിറ്റഡ് ബൈ ഇന്ത്യൻ കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ. ഫോഴ്സ്ഡ് ലേബർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നിർബന്ധിത വേല, തൊഴിൽ കാശ് കൊടുക്കാതെ എന്ത് ചെയ്യുക, കുട്ടികളെ കൊണ്ടും ആൾക്കാരെ കൊണ്ടും ജോലി ചെയ്യിപ്പിക്കും, ജാതിയുടെ മതത്തിലേക്ക് പേര് പറഞ്ഞുകൊണ്ട്. പിന്നെ ലാസ്റ്റ് പറഞ്ഞത് ചൈൽഡ് ലേബർ. Child labor mean by below 14 age. If any citizens is, if not citizens, any child is, they can taken to their home and to what appointing any restaurant and other match factories and other small industries, and to what mainly to compel to them to what work. So here the children's right to educational right is what denied. ആൻഡ് ചിൽഡ്രൻസ് ഹാവ് മെനി റൈറ്റ്സ് ഈസ്. ഇവിടെ ഈ ഒരു ചൈൽഡ് ലേബർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്കറിയാം പിന്നെ ശിശുവേല അല്ലെങ്കിൽ എന്ത് പറയും, ചെറിയ കുട്ടികൾ 14 വയസ്സിന് താഴെയുള്ള കുട്ടികൾ ജോലി ചെയ്യുകയാണ്. അപ്പൊ അവരുടെ അവകാശങ്ങൾ എന്താണ് പലപ്പോഴും ഇവിടെ ഹനിക്കപ്പെടുകയും ചെയ്യുന്നു. അപ്പൊ അതിനെതിരെയുള്ള എന്താണ് ഒരു റൈറ്റ് ആണ് ഇത്. പിന്നെ റൈറ്റ് ഫ്രീഡം, എല്ലാ വ്യക്തികൾക്കും എന്താണ് ഇന്ത്യയിൽ അവരുടെ ആശയങ്ങളും അവരുടെ എന്താണ് ചിന്തകളും സംസാരിക്കാനും അത് എക്സ്പ്രസ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള റൈറ്റ്സ് ഉണ്ട്. പിന്നെ അസോസിയേഷൻ ഫോം ചെയ്യാം, എവിടെയാണ് താമസിക്കാം, മൂവ് ചെയ്യാം, പ്രൊഫഷൻ. Then right to what equality itself. That's about the what very famous fundamental rights that guaranteed by the what in the constitution. Fundamental rights are the right are guaranteed by the what in the constitution.